Assalamu alaikum, dear viewer, wherever you are, hoping it's a good afternoon to you too. It's Wahida Muhammad in Africa Arena, TV Al Alamiya once again. In today's show, we have a very interesting topic. We have men from different countries to talk about something they're doing in their different fields. Before we get into that, we take a short break, and when we come back, more to come. Okay, then before we go for a short break, you can just introduce yourselves.
My name is Khalifa.
Okay, what about you, my brother, because you've been here so often, Yani?
Okay, I can say once again, I'm honored to be here with you, Wahida. Okay, my name is Ibrahima SCC from the Gambia, and I'm called the African, Yani. That's my name.
African?
Yeah.
What's your field of study?
I'm a law student at the International University of Africa, third year.
Okay, so before we go into it, I think we have so many things to discuss about it. Here you have a project coming, a campaign that's moving people's hearts.
Of course,
but before that, I feel you have to go for a break.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right.
Let them know they missing out. Sing again. This for all the love and the life took away. Don't forget we were bought and traded, ripped from the land and shipped away. I is the inspiration we use to survive. You have to see it with your own cry. Don't play, add it up and alright. Still you don't know. The land is so golden green. The place is so fresh and clean. And every day I water my garden. Tell if you feel it deep in your heart. And the space is so cool and nice. Visit once, guaranteed to visit twice. And if you just believe in the Most High, I know you'll be alright. Mama Africa has so much love, yeah. Pure blackness, oneness, so rare. So much love to give, and let them know they missing out. Mama Africa, you so much love to share. Sweet blackness, oneness, be there. So much love to give, and let them know they missing out. Sing again. Hey, that's my favorite place when I need to get away. Must forgive, but we can't forget to pray. Our flight lands right on the runway. I in my homeland and I'm feeling so alive. Hear me chant, Africa unite. Gone and accept the nice alright. Still you don't know, her skin is so dark and brown. She lifts me right off the ground, but no, you're not gonna see it on your TV. So yo, just listen up and believe me. Her dreams have the only cure. Her love is so new and pure. Act against them troubles, goodbye. No, I don't have to lie. Mama Africa, you got much love, yeah. Pure blackness, oneness, so rare. So much love to give. Let them know that they missing out. Mama Africa, so much love to share. Sweet blackness, oneness, be there. So much love to give, and let them know that they missing out. Mama Africa, so much, yeah, so much. So tell me, can you feel it? So much, yeah, so much. Then make that visit. So much love, so much. Senegal, can you feel it? So much, yeah, so much.
And that was Akon giving us that African music. And down to it now, we have my guests in the studio. They have a project going on. It's about Imagine It's Your Mother. So I'm going to go straight into it. What's the project about?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having us. And then talking about the project Imagine It's Your Mother, it's a form of a campaign which developed into a company, which is looking at empowering mothers. We believe mothers are the backbone of our society, that being the fact. And almost all the troubles at home, almost all the problems on the streets can be traced back to the home. Now the kids on the street, the fact that having kids on the street, someone let them out there. Someone is giving back to those kids, and someone can't provide for them or take care of them. That is why they are on the street. So looking at it from that point of view, we can't just access the problem itself unless we have to trace back the source of the problem. So like reading through the source of all this problem, we realize it has to come from the home. And who is at home is the mother. The mother has about 70% of the child's life is spent with the mother. So imagine It's Your Mother, it's a form of a campaign which aims at empowering mothers financially, giving them capital aid, and then with that also giving them the education, basic financial skills on how to take care of these aid that they're having in order for them to support themselves, the kids at home, and to develop the nation at large. That is exactly what the campaign is aiming at and what the company is all about.
Okay. And imagine, but this an idea like this came from somewhere. There must be an inspiration.
Oh yes, of course.
Inspiration, Mr. Sisse. Also, you can add a bit about this, Yani.
Okay, first of all, I can say once again, I'm honored to be in a platform where always current issues about our continent have been discussed there.
Yes.
So we as a youth, we have a responsibility towards our continent. And as I said here last time, we ever ready whenever there's a call for service for our continent. And I can still remember the first text message I received about this Imagine It's Your Mother campaign was from a Kenyan sister called Ayan Safi. And she talked to me about, okay, Imagine It's Your Mother campaign thing, I want you to join us. Okay, I never even required for the formalities, and then I was just like, what is it about? She said it's about empowering the poor mothers in our society. I said, I'm in. I don't need any other formality. Okay, I'm honored also today to sit here with this young man sitting with me from my hometown called Freetown, Sierra Leone, who have to have this idea not to see everything about himself being selfish, but also be one of the youths that are working towards the changing of our continent, not a country per se, but the entirety of the continent. And then the basics of this is that we want to see all of the kids off the street by 2025.
That's your aim on your vision.
That's the aim. So it's not like we want to do it in Sudan or in Kenya. And then for the strategies to work, it came with this idea that we need to involve every youth across the African continent. So everywhere you can have the decentralization of the labor. So by 2025, we're having a vision to be all across Africa. And then this can't work alone by just individuals doing it. But it's an idea that have to come from a pure heart who has a love for his continent and the people of his continent. And then we salute them for that. And then I personally joined the campaign officially. I am part of the campaign. And then I am hoping the day I'm going to close from Sudan chapter, I shall be working in the Senegambia region across the Guinea-Bissau through those areas. So Imagine It's Your Mother campaign is a thing, it doesn't require one side of the thing and ignore the fact that we have to concentrate on the side. Okay. In Africa for now, we have our mothers being poor. It's leading to the kids to be in the street. We have other issues also we're facing. We have in different universities across Africa producing graduates, but we have no job. It's another thing. So Imagine It's Your Mother campaign is a thing where people come and invest, empower mothers, the capitals that we provide for them. Then every capital that is been provided as a business form for these mothers, the 60% goes to the mothers. And then it doesn't only mean empowering the mother.
So it has a well-formed structure.
Yes, it has a structure. That's what I'm saying. I said I'm honored to sit with this young man here.
Mr. Khalifa.
Yes.
And he's the founder of this campaign. So back to the story.
Yes.
Where did it come from?
Okay. Tracing it back, I could say it was in 2016 June.
Okay.
We all know that Sierra Leone suffered tremendous Ebola outbreak in the year of the 2014-2015. So 2016 we were declared Ebola free, and I was here. I had the chance to go back home holiday. When I went on holidays, being with the family, I realized like, okay, as a student here, I've been away for so long. So what can I do to impress the family? It was just a form, like. So I realized, I said, today I'm the one cooking at home today. Nobody's cooking. Yes, I told my parents that. They said, okay, do what you can. So I went to the market. But on my way to the market, I encountered a lot of kids, about, I could say, approximately up to 70 kids, continually coming to ask, begging alms, like, anytime, everyone you meet, they'll ask you for something, and you can't get to give all of them. And I started to think, but before all of that, I always had this question in my mind, like, I grew up in an orphanage, not as an orphan, but my mother was the director of the orphanage, so I grew up with the orphan. I always had this question at the back of my mind, like, why are some extremely rich and others extremely poor? Why can't we just elevate the ones that are extremely poor to a level where they can be extremely rich, but they can be content with whatever situation they are? I always had this question at the back of my mind. And studying economics also pushed me further to do more research. Why is there poverty, and why is our continent, Africa, considered as the poorest continent in the world? With all these questions and coming across these kids, going to the market, finding these women, our market in Sierra Leone, in the West Africa, we cannot relate to that, full of women in the market, selling petty businesses. The capital is so minimal, it's not even up to. So I found this old woman in her late 60s towards 70s. She caught my eyes. I approached her and asked her, like, Mama, why are you doing this? All she could tell me is she's trying to survive.
Trying to survive.
Trying to survive. So with this, I imagine, like, if this is my mom, and I would definitely be one of those kids begging on the street, because all she's doing now is to survive. She has a reason, but she has no purpose of living. Her reason is to survive. Then I thought of, what can I do exactly? And then how can I solve all of this? Realizing I'm just a student, I can't do much to help. I went back home with a heart full of pain, imagining that woman is my mother, imagining that those kids on the street could be me or someone else or one of my relatives. And I sat home all day thinking of a solution. Connecting the dots to all this problem, I realized I don't even need to help these women, no. All they need is an empowerment. If this old woman can wake up every morning at 6, go to the market for a capital that is less than $10, I should say, what if she has something that is worth more than $10, meaning she can do everything she could to sustain? So I realized we just need to empower them. And it doesn't take much to empower someone. Sometimes they only need words. Sometimes they need the expertise you have. Sometimes they need the experience. And I realized, okay, I am having actually $200 as an allowance every month.
That's what to begin with.
Yes, from my parents, I have $200 as an allowance every month. I said, okay, this is my allowance. I can divide this one into 2. I will invest 100 in these women as an empowerment measure. And 100 could be used for my own basic needs in Khartoum, Sudan, where I study. I went the next morning, I met these women. I said, I have an idea. It's simple. I see you like my mother. So this is what you're doing. You said your capital is like $10. She said, yes. I said, okay. And you're making like a normal condition $2, right? She said, yes. I said, all right. I will multiply your capital to a substantial amount, but with 2 major conditions. The first one is, we are dividing the profit you're having. I'll give you 60% of it, and I will take 40%. And she asked me how. I said, okay, let's imagine I make your capital $50 right now. Okay. So you will be liable to making at least $10 a profit. You were making 2, you're making 10. I am going to give you $4 out of that $10 profit directly. You could use it anyhow. And I will take $2 and put it in an account that I'll set up for your kids, for them not to ask you at the end of the year to go back to school. And then medical insurance could be covered within that. She looked at that and said, okay. And I said the 40% remaining, I am putting 20% aside for another woman that is like you, suffering in the same way.
Was she receptive to this idea, giving her money to another woman to also grow?
You know, looking at it, we can all help. We all have that heart. Someone down there is now trying to help someone else. That is the whole concept. And I don't have much me neither. But looking at the little that we have, we can share it. We can all come together collectively. So that was how it all started. With this one woman, it became 3 of them with the same idea. I give you 4%, like 40% direct, 20% for your kids in their account, 20% to another woman to help the next month, and 20% in my own account. Okay. So I realized this could be done. This is an empowerment measure. I took 3 of them. Before 2 months to 3 months, we had like 10 of them.
10 women in 3 months, 10 women, all growing in the business.
Growing the business, coming together collectively, working together. They had only a reason to survive. Now we give them purpose to survive. The purpose is you live for yourself and you prepare something for your kids at the end of the day. So they agreed to it. From 10, we had like 100 and some. Within 2 years' time, we had 225 women. And that is 225 family. From an idea and from a tiny allowance and these women working together collectively. So it's a form of solving our African problems ourselves without intervention of external bodies. That is one way.
And doing something about what we feel
Exactly, exactly. And looking at it that way, they were so content and happy. You are not giving them arms every day. It's a form of sustainable charity. You're helping them continuously in a way that they are the ones giving you return. If I give you 10 today, tomorrow I give you 10, the day after I won't have the 10 to give you. So what if I teach you how to get the 10 every day, your own self? And we teach you how to manage them. So that's how it's all started. That is how it's all about. Within 2 years' time, we had 225 women, which is 225 family, imagine. So covering them, their kids, and then they are so independent enough right now. They are the ones channeling other people's life, changing someone else's life, someone who had a very tiny account, very tiny amount as a capital. So the company and the campaign is all about empowering our mothers. Yes, we believe
that's how a small idea grows.
It grows. That's how it all grows.
But Mr. Fadiga, you know, every idea,
yes,
like yours, of course, it needs investing, funding. How do you oil this campaign? How do you oil this investment scheme that you're doing?
That is a brilliant question. To start with, like I said, I started with my allowance. Then I realized, okay, I'm studying economics and business, and every policy needs to be practiced. So what if what if I change it from just a campaign to a company, wherein we accept investment from investors, we sell shares and stock to them. You are liable of buying share and stock to the company with your share, and you have an annual return, your dividends that is coming. So it is a form of your money that you're putting is helping someone's life, in which you are having a return for this money.
That's a good point. Your money you're putting into it, you're investing, also helping someone else. And when you come back, if you want to be an investor, you want to help out in this campaign, how do you do it? Don't go far, it's Africa Arena for you.
Salamu alaikum, Habibi. Ich bin auf dem Weg in die Kirche. Kommst du mit mir beten? Es ist wieder Zeit, Gott zu danken fürs Leben. Für Mamas Lächeln in ihrem Gesicht. Babas Stärke und Mut hält mich. Sie sind mein Einmaßbesitz, den keiner übertrifft. Wenn du nicht verstehst, was ich appelliere, mit dieser Schiene verfolg meine Ziele. Kein Problem, davon gibt's zu viele. Habischer Queen, komm, mach Platz, meine Liebe. Hab mich selbst übertroffen. Bin weitergekommen, als ich je erhoffte. Neues Level steht offen. Beiseite der Westen, jetzt kommt der Orient. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Ghana, Togo und Somalia. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Marokkaner und Eritrea. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Mama, Mama, Mama Afrika. Mama Afrika. Alaikum Salam, Shekurina. Wir leben zusammen, gleichgültig welches Land. Das, was uns verbindet, ist Herz und Verstand. Reich mir deine Hand, auch wenn wir nicht verwandt sind. Was für Arroganz ist das Self-Confidence. Steh hinter mir oder mir nicht im Weg. Alles für die Familie, mein Privileg. Kreiere alleine diese Komposition. Mit Gedenken an euch, sei es Tochter oder Sohn. Der Herr sei gelobt, sei stolz auf deine Tradition. Habischer Queen auf dem Weg zur Million. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Ghana, Togo und Somalia. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Marokkaner und Eritrea. Je m'appelle Mama Afrika, Mama, Mama, Mama Afrika. Mama Afrika.
That was Africa by our lovely lady there, and these are African child. About the investment, how does it work really?
Okay, we have a financial product that we're dealing with. In every business and every strategy, you have a financial. We have the conventional and we have this financial product we're dealing with. It's called al-mudaraba. It's a form of a product wherein you have the capital provider and the labor provider. You two work together. I provide the capital, you provide the labor. We share the profit margin. But in our own sense, we're trying to empower the mothers more. So we're giving them 60% of every profit share that is coming. And the 40% is divided between the company and another potential clients that we're to hold. And then with that also, we have investor scheme, which we deal with the investors. As an investor, you want to invest with the company, we have a scheme you have to run through. You are coming as a philanthropist, trying to help these mothers to build up themselves and trying to help African youth in general. We're in the African arena, how to empower Africa, how to push Africa, how to move Africa from that stage where we are being looked at and to elevate it in a standard wherein the whole world could see us. We don't have to do it at the government level. We can start with just the minimal private level, the household level, the community, society. Before you know it, we are targeting the whole nation. That is how it's all about. And as an investor, you want to invest with us, we have a scheme with this close with you. We always negotiate with our investors to be taking 40% and the 60% goes to these women, just like how we treat it. So it's a ratio of 60-40 we always deal with. You invest with us, you can buy a stock. We have a project coming. We build a certain project to employ these women where they work, these mothers. When they work, whatever we generate out of this project, as your investment, you have a dividend, such a return that comes to you as an investor. That is mostly how we deal with it.
So, Mr. Sisi, about volunteers, if I'm to join this campaign, how can I volunteer? How can I help out?
Okay, I said, first of all, whatever thing that we have to ask from the youth, these are the things that it's an organization that is not a monetary thing. There's no salary for you. First of all, you have to have the thing in your heart that you wanted to help. That's the first basic thing somebody needs to before approaching us. And the second thing is that when you finally join this campaign, you can serve as an ambassador of the company. Because I've said earlier on, one person can't do this alone. And it's not few individuals coming together doing this, but it's a thing that needs diversity across the African continent. So we have a plan that wherever we have a participant that joined the campaign and then becoming an ambassador, they have an authority to work on behalf of the company where they are, but without going against the basics of the company, because we have rules. Whatever thing that you do, 60% no matter what goes to this woman. That's the thing, first of all. And then whatever thing that you are to do, you have to follow the rules and values of the company, because the company works towards helping people. It's not a thing that's a capital thing, like that have a capital mentality. This capitalist mentality, all they care at making profit, but it's about helping people more than helping yourself. And then the second thing that a participant can achieve from us is that I said we work towards to solve the problem of unemployment. So if a participant can invest more than three investments in the company, or 4 or 5, and then doing another thing, meaning at the end of the month, each and every one of these people, the 20% is coming to his account directly. It's a form of not helping people and forgetting about yourself, but it is a thing participants are going to be, benefiting from. And other thing that participants can benefit from is that they can buy shares from the company. That you are a participant before, a mere participant, you're just there. But today, as you have more interest towards the company, you can buy a share from the company, and then it's a
shareholder of the company.
Yeah, so those are the things and more that the participants can benefit from the company. But the basic thing that makes me love this company more is that it's not a thing that is a governmental thing. It is not a thing that is dealing with any thing like politics or issues. It is an idea coming from the students, and then it's the student thing doing it. People putting their finance that they're receiving from their family, is that those are the things that they put in together in order to
And that's
solve.
the power of the youth, Yani.
So-
Once you come together, you can do something.
So, and I can remember last time I came here, I said the solutions that we need for this continent is not a solution of the politics now. It's not the solutions that we're seeking from our rulers, but it's the thing that we, as youths, young people of this continent, have to start doing something. And
It
then
begins
people,
with us.
yes.
That's the point. It begins with us. the
Everything
youth.
started with us.
Mr. Khalifa, on the break, you were telling me about there's a launch coming soon about the campaign.
Oh,
If you
yes.
can just tell the viewers.
Sure. We have a launching coming soon about the campaign. We are trying to make it official, and the launching aims at creating more orientation. When people know more about what we're doing, and they could do, it's not just about doing it through us, no. It's about you can do it your own self. You don't have to channel it through the campaign or the company. You can help a mother out there. You can invest with the same strategy with them. The launching is to happen on Saturday, in the December 8th, which is Saturday, and it will be hosted in the Indimi Hall in the IUA complex, which we aim at orienting student population, our dignitaries and ambassadors all around. Everybody and all is invited, hence here within Khartoum. Come and participate with us. Come and learn more about what we do and how we do it. This is an idea initiated by students, run by students, for mothers and for Africa. You know, we have a slogan which says, empower a mother, empower a nation. So we're trying to be the fruit of these mothers, that we are trying systematically to uplift their standard and uplift our community and uplift the nation and the continent at large. And then, like my brother said, by 2025, we aim at being continental. Right now, currently, we're existing in Sierra Leone. It's existing in Guinea-Conakry. It has started in Sudan here. And then the Uganda chapter is already active now. And then taken to Rwanda. So by 2025, we want to be the fruit that is everywhere in Africa.
African fruit, if
African
you may say.
fruit. Exactly. And talking about the launching, yes, it's a form of orientation which has to feature African talents also. We have to feature poetry made by Africans, drama, play, storytelling. It is just a collaboration of African youth, African students coming together. We're celebrating ourselves, celebrating our mothers. You know, we are trying to shed more light on this mother in the sense, and also putting more on our shoulders to carry on too. So with all the display of love for mothers, help for mothers, and we portray our talents, be it poetry, be it drama, be it storytelling, be it music, be it whatever you can do as an African, let's elevate Africa. I always say in my meetings, if European student can build a company, if American student can build a company, why not Africans collectively build a company which can elevate the nation and the continent at large?
Why not Africans?
Why not Africans?
Something to ponder about. So if you want to do the campaigns, Imagine It's Your Mother. They have a Facebook page also called Imagine It's Your Mother. You can go there, show your love, show your support to the African people.
To the African people.
Apart from this campaign, now we have to go down to something very serious. As we've heard in the past that Africa is the cemetery of African people, I repeat again, Africa, cemetery of the African people. This has been said in the past. And I like to go down, break it down to the roots. This statement.
It's a pity. It's just a pity we can't disagree to a degree. We would just stay in between the line, pretend to disagree and pretend not to.
But just on the statement itself, Annie, how do you take it? What do you understand from this statement per se?
I would, from breaking it from the statement point of view, Africa being a cemetery for Africans, it's ironic in the sense that we Africans, we are born here, okay, we grow up here. Immediately we achieve something, we want to switch over to another continent, per se. We realize our education have been seeking a different continent, our medical insurance, medical health, we seek it in a different continent. And after everything is achieved there, when we passed away, when life is taken from us, we have to be returned to be buried in our continent. Looking at it that way, yes, it is a cemetery for Africans in which we don't even want to stay here. You find our leaders, I should say, I quote, our leaders, our statesmen, our councilmen, they are in Africa, ruling us in Africa, but their hopes, light, eyes, and lives have been lived in Europe and America and the likes. At the end of the day, they come back here, get what they can, and go back there. We hear they passed away, they bring their body, we restore their body. May they rest in peace. That is how ironic it looks. But why I would also disagree to the same concept is that it's not about that idea of them seeking what is out there. It's about, what if these people can change what is out there and bring it back? That is where my problem lies.
But do they bring it back?
That's the question you should ask. Do they bring it back?
Mr. Sise, I can see you fidgeting in your seat.
Okay.
Africa, so much of African people. What do you think about this statement?
Okay, I can say I've been born inside for almost a week now, you know.
No.
And I stopped blaming people. I've said that, and I never blame people for the past, because as far as I'm alive today, I believe that my life means something, and it doesn't mean me surviving as an individual. It doesn't mean me providing a need for my family. It doesn't mean providing it from my birthplace in the Gambia, but it means that I need to give a service to these people called Africa. And when I talk about this, I don't care which type of African do you represent. I don't care if you come from the coast of Kenya, you're from the Swahili descendant, or you come from the northern Africa, you're an Arab descendant from Egypt, or I don't care if you're from South Sudan, the Dinkas and the Nuweiris brothers we have there. And I don't care if you're from the Senegambian region where we have the Wolof and the Bambara people. But all I cared that I need to give a service that means give a positive thing towards the lives of the people in this continent. And always as people we've been marginalized, but what's been so sorry about us that we're giving reasons to people to marginalize us. Number one. Number two, we're not ready to learn from our lessons. And always, I mention this, always people who try to wake Africans up, then have been killed by Africans. And I told my mom, then if I have any fear for now as an individual, and I feared the individuals like Thomas Sankara, my father, Patrice Lumumba of DRC, John Garang of South Sudan, and then the likes, I feared I might pay the same price they paid, because this is the price you have to be ready for in order to make Africans wake up from the dream. And as the Russian leader saying Africa becoming a cemetery for Africans, I said, why does the Russians need to go to Zambia in order to occupy those lands that you know, most of the Africans don't, maybe some, I urge all of you, you're watching this TV right now, and then go check about that information, how many land occupied by Russians in Zambia. Okay, you come to Zambia today, in the national airport of Zambians, they've been restricted to buy stuffs from China other than other countries. And then I said again, we're giving reasons to people to marginalize us. And then why Africa have to be a cemetery for Africans? It is true, ask an average African leader who doesn't have a bank account in Suez. Do you have? If you have any, you try. Okay, ask an average African leader whose wife is doing a shopping in Joburg in South Africa, or in Kampala, or in Kigali, or in Nairobi. We're not doing this. This is not Africa being a cemetery for Africans. It doesn't mean for African people. It means for our leaders. So I stopped blaming the leaders. I said we, as young people, we are the leaders of this generation, because nobody ever called me now the future leader. I'm a current leader of myself.
So you do agree that Africa is the cemetery of African peoples? You do agree with this statement?
I said in a sense.
In a sense.
That it is a cemetery for people who have only idea how to take the money away from the people and then go save it somewhere, live there. When they die, we put them to rest in Africa. That's truth. But it doesn't just mean by the words. It means what I see it as a lost student, what I see it as a Pan-Africanist. I said, is a place where Africans don't even realize what they're having. They're dying and then sleeping on something that the world is looking for. What is the reason why China have to give Africans billions of dollars, and then Africans are celebrating, forgetting about the people who said before, like Thomas Sankara, Africa is going to be colonized again based on the debts that we're taking from people. And then when he was questioned once again, my dad, Thomas Sankara, then what is an imperialism? He said, look at your plate, that's what you're eating, this is it. So if the leaders of the Africans today are not listening to those things, and then most of us today, when we become leaders, the things that we say before getting to those offices, and the realities makes us change mostly. But I say it as youths, people who are not involved in politics, if we can change our issues right now,
it's going to have an effect on the people who are ruling us. And therefore, by then, Africans will...
Mr. Sisi, this goes beyond leaders. All have family members who, when they get rich, we all want to flee.
Because it's an influence. You know, it's a peer influence. If the president can go to Europe and shop there because he has a capital, if I become one of the richest too, I want to go to Europe or America. By the way, I'm in Sudan today. If my family members are watching this, I have an opportunity studying beyond Africa. But I prefer Sudan, me as an individual, because I have a particular thing that I want to achieve, is to know more about African history, the thing that's not been manipulated. And then one of the achievements I got from Sudan is that I studied about the roots of the Nubian people in Sudan. And I realized the fact that how the Negroes from the Africa have been able to occupy from the northern Sudan, western Sudan to Ethiopia, all the way to Egypt. I realized these lands were owned by us. And one of the things that affected me the most was the book I read about the destruction of the black civilization. And then this thing, I found a statement there, once upon a time in Ethiopia or in Sudan, people who have a very dark skin have been looked at holy. And today, 2018, I saw my African sisters called changing, seeking to change the color. I said, what have happened between the two generations? If they are to wake up today, see us, and then are we representing them? And then this is not the thing that I just stopped there. Africa have been attacked centuries, not before colonization. It's been attacked, but people have been in Africa been able to subdue people. But why, with all the technologies that we have, with all the universities, high schools that we have today, we're always surrendering when we face the external powers? And then
why? That's the question.
Okay.
So, Mr. Sisi, Mr. Khalifa, why are we going wrong? Why do we, when we get the money, we go outside? What could be the reason for this?
I was trying not to speak from economic or historical point of view.
Please go there.
But if I take it there, let me break it down systematically. First of all, our educational system is modeled to look to future the Western type of view. Our histories and stories are written by people who are not part of the history or story. So we take them and read them. This is a form of programming our mentality, our way of thinking, to see that we are looking beyond the sea. Okay, we are not taught to look down. The pre-colonial era, we realized we had institutions that were teaching us how to be Africans. Now we are not being taught how to be Africans. We are taught how to look at how to be in the African system or scheme and look at yourself as someone else. You know, sometimes you put on an African attire to a certain function. Someone looks at you in that kind of perspective. Okay, the French people, they came to Africa with the assimilation. Let's make African people French out of African people. Okay. Like the Senegal and the Guinean, they revolted against it. It wiped away. So looking at this, we are being taught from the educational point of view, we are being scrutinized and screened to look at Africa not as our own, but it is being sent down to us. We're looking at those continents. You see, when the leader said, when Vladimir Putin said this word, I read it actually. I didn't actually watch it, excuse me, but I read it through the social media. And I analyzed it critically. He might have said it from the upper point of view, like from the leaders, the rich men and everything. Yes. But when we look at it down here also, even the youth ourselves, we are looking at escaping Africa to a better life. How many thousands died in the Mediterranean? Some of my status on Facebook, I've been talking about this for ages since it started. I had a cousin that lost his life through the escape. Back in my place, they call it I don't know, jungle run or temple run, sorry. Okay. Temple run. So people, how many thousands of youth that we are supposed to build up our continent died just crossing over? And the labor force that is being provided in those countries that are being developed are all seen from here. They are taken from here. So at first, slavery came, we were being forced to go. Now we are forcing ourselves to go. So it is not something, it is a mentality that has been programmed in us from an educational point of view. All the books we're reading came from there. You can barely find an institution imposing books that are written by African authors and then some of the research that are done by African scientists, we are not following them to portray them. So this simply is giving us that mentality like we are the back. We are just like at the back of every continent. But instead, we should try to attack it from that point of view. Economically also, we are being dependent. the loans that we're receiving, our production is not, we are not producing in Africa to
We're not producing.
our manufacture.
We
just
have
take the raw material. We are first-hand based. The raw materials are sent there. They buy it from us, we send them there. And they produce this after the manufacturing is complete. They send it back to us and we buy it for extra. Meaning, we should change the educational system from looking at it there, and then the economic system, we should stop being the first-hand based, like producing the raw material. We should start manufacturing, produce our raw material, we manufacture them and we sell them. Africa becoming a market can be independent. We don't have youths to run away, but all what we're doing is being dependent, economically dependent. Our educational system is dependent. Even the media, when we talk about it, it's also the same thing. Most of our I don't want to line up our broadcasting system. But yes, so attacking it from the economic point of view, we are still behind them. When we produce the raw material, they come, like for example, Sierra Leone, they came with African Mineral Company, mining company that mine iron ore and bauxite. They mine it, export it, and we buy the end product, the finished good of these material that we sold to them for next to nothing. And then they resell them back to us. We buy them extra with taxation on top of it.
So how can we close this gap?
We need to.
So we produce, then it does not go outside. We produce. How do we just keep it here and produce it here? Okay. Can you just add?
Yes, I can remember 3 days ago I have a discussion with youth all across Africa at the university here. So this question came when I was just sitting. They were like, Mr. Cisse, okay, if you one day become a president, what would you do for your country? What thing that you want to change? I said, I am from a country where we have two types of education. We have the Islamic Arabic education, then we have the conventional education. I said, one thing that I want to achieve, I'm going to get rid of the entire educational system from the kindergarten to the grade 12 education. If I can achieve that as a president for my country, I'm a happy man. Even if I die, I'm going to rest in peace. Because today we have people, an average A student from the Gambia, want to go to United States of America. And actually they're going. Every time when we have this West African examination certificate exam, when we have it in the Gambia, you have the top 10, they're all gone. 20 gone, 30 gone. So we all keeping the people, and then you have this educational system in the Gambia. Let me break it down this way. When we have a grade 9 education examinations, the best students from aggregate 6 to 10 will study science. The second average students will go for commerce. And then you have the dull students who will go for arts. And then you go, who are the people at the university in the Gambia who will study arts, law, or political science, or development? Mostly are studied by arts students, people who are not that much smart in the high school.
Not that smart in the high school, not in that field of the
what I'm saying here, as they set it on. So if these are the people who have to go to university, and we all know this kind of educations that we have, okay, when even students have an assignment, somebody will tell you, just write my name there. And then this is the kind of education somebody go pass through. All they care is to how to fill their pockets.
How to fill their pockets.
And how comes somebody with that mentality have to
that
go...
That mentality will be changed.
Yes.
It can only be done through a system.
I said, how come somebody with that kind of mentality have to sit with an ambassador from the United States of America or the ambassador from the United Kingdom and then signing a deal, and then he's giving under 10,000 US dollars as a pocket coin? And then how comes he lead the Gambian interest before the America and the United Kingdom? And if we want to change this, talking is enough. The only thing we have to change, the education, something that we're learning from schools.
The education.
Education is the thing. Yeah.
Education system, what about you? How can we change this mentality of the African people going outside to find better futures?
First of all, I would like to commend the youth. We are seeing innovators coming up from us, amidst of us. Great mind, and then that is amazing, that is brilliant. I came in encounter with youth that they are thinking different from what the first generation were thinking.
Yes.
We're all thinking it was all there. Now we realize it is here, but we just have to put ourselves together, work together to get it. That is why the campaign, Imagine It's Your Mother Company, is seen as a step to achieving all that. We collectively put the minds together, the minds of the youths all around us. So that is one way of starting. You know, we don't have to target every issue from up there. We can start from down here. You know, and then another political tool they're using to keep our continent low is the education. Just like my brother said, we have an illiteracy level higher, so people don't know what exactly they're looking for in life. They don't. They have no idea what they're looking for. I'm a youth, and I would vote for someone who gave me just a quarter of whatever little that I want for that day. I would just cast my vote. I don't care whatever policy enact in the government.
So we don't really look about the future, just see the now.
The now is our major problem. So, but I commend the youths. We're growing up right now. We're looking at things from a different point of view. We're trying to elevate in a faster rate, and we have an entrepreneurs that are changing lives, and we have educational system wherein the youths, they don't focus on what they are learning right now. They focus on what they can make out of what they are learning.
Youths focusing on what they're making right now. And that's a good punch to end the show. You as a youth back home, what are you doing to change your situation in your society? What are you doing? Imagine it's your mother. Campaigns are going up and up. What are you doing back home? Start something new. Grow a society. It's been Africa Arena. Wahida Muhammad in the studios. Till next time, have a good afternoon to you.
Malaika, nakupenda malaika, ningekuoa maliwe, ningekuoa dada, nashindana malisi nawe, ningekuoa malaika, nashindana malisi nawe. Ningekuwa malaika, pesa zasumbua roho yangu, pesa zasumbua roho yangu, nami nifanyeje? Nashindana malisi nawe, ningekuwa malaika. Kidege, hukuwaza kidege, kidege, hukuwaza kidege, nami nifanyeje? Kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na malisi nawe, ningekuwa malaika, nashindwa na malisi nawe.